afternoon, everyone. We apologize for the delay, but we needed a few extra minutes to get our full complement of members here today. This is the October 18th, 2022 meeting of the Development Waiver Review Committee. My name is Ann Littman, and I am the Community Development Director and Chairman of this committee. When everyone starts presenting, all of your comments should be directed to me, and at this time, I will ask my fellow members to turn on their microphones and introduce themselves.
Jason Phillips, County Attorney.
Lori Ashmore, Director of Paulding County Water System.
George Jones, Paulding County, Department of Transportation Director.
Frank Baker, County Manager.
We also have Mark Long and Leah Wilson with Community Development up front, and Tara Lay with Environmental Health. So thank everyone for being here. Our first agenda item is to review minutes from the September 20th, 2022 meeting. If everyone has had a chance to review those, I will ask for a motion.
So moved. Motion to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the September 20th, 22 minutes by Ms. Ashmore that was seconded by Mr. Jones. Does anyone have any questions or comments at this time?
Just to identify, I will abstain from this vote since I wasn't there.
Okay. With that being said, I will ask for a vote of all those who are in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. And we have one abstention, so the minutes are passed by a vote of 3-1. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 agenda items today. Our first item was tabled from the September 20th, 22 meeting. It is case number 2022-16-W, application by Dane Frey, requesting to waive the requirement to extend the public sewer line and thus allow the installation of a new septic system for the proposed development of Caliber Collision. Property is located in land lot 615, District 2, Section 3, located along the intersection of Depot Drive and Rosedale Drive at 331 Rosedale Drive in Post 3. Is the applicant present? Okay. If you would please come up to the podium and begin your presentation, and we do have your PowerPoint up there, and just remember that we only have 15 minutes for both sides.
All right, good afternoon. It's so nice to see you all again, and thank you again for the opportunity to allow us to come back to you to do our additional homework and give our team a chance to pull together some additional information to hopefully quell some of the concerns that I heard, that our team heard from the board meeting last month. Again, my name is Melanie Bagley. I'm here representing Victory Development. We put together just a little presentation for you just to help corral all of the information, and for the benefit of those that weren't in attendance at the last meeting, just put together a little blurb about Caliber Collision, what we hope it will bring to the table, bring to the community. And I'll just touch on that briefly before I go into the key components of the request today. Let's see. There we go. So just briefly, for those that aren't familiar with the Caliber Collision brand, we wanted to highlight here some of the important components of what this business brings to the community. I think for this group, the important items here are, one, the number of jobs that and high-paying, well-paying jobs that this business would bring to Paulding County, and second, the tax revenue that we would expect this business to generate once it's open and operating. We expect that a business like this would stimulate the economy and the community in this area. We feel very strongly that the location of this proposed Caliber Collision is in line with the businesses that are surrounding this particular site. We hope you would feel the same. I'm going to just show the site plan briefly. I know you all have seen it, but again, for the general public and for those members that weren't in attendance last month, this is our site plan. It's fronts on Rosedale Drive. Again, it's to date we have designed drawings for consideration by environmental for the septic design, which is why we're here today. with full civil drawings and details to be submitted at a later date for permit. We would love to be under construction just as soon as possible. And then just briefly, here are some elevations or some examples of existing caliber collisions that are open across the country. It's a product, it's a brand that we're very proud of. It's as you can see, it doesn't look like a lot of the other service industry, auto-oriented businesses. We use high-quality materials, develop the site, landscaping is all top-notch. So we just wanted to touch on that here, give an example of those. All right, now the good stuff. So the reason we're here before you today, obviously, is to request approval of a waiver to allow the design and construction of a septic system. In conversations with Laurie and her team, and then conversations we've had during the last board meeting, it was discussed about whether or not connection to existing manholes was viable. Ms. Lippman, one of the questions you had at the last meeting was whether or not we had approached some of these outside parties, namely Sam's Club, which would be Walmart corporate, and Lori, we talked about this too, whether or not we even would have permission to come onto their property and tie into that manhole. Fortunately enough, we had a resource that we could go back that went to Walmart corporate directly, and they were open to us tying into the manhole on their property. So open such that they took it to their internal civil engineering team, who performed a review on it and denied our request to tie into their manhole, citing that it would inhibit their ability to expand their business at a later date. So with that, we came back to, again, looking at the other option, which was connecting into Depot Drive. Again, you asked us to do our homework. Lori, our follow-up conversation to the board meeting last month was with you and with Mr. Wooten, was to look at tying into this location and contacting Paulding County DOT to verify what their limitations might be, what their feeling might be on the connection here. We did subsequently reach out to Paulding County DOT, and we confirmed the right-of-way width and invariably just decided that it was, there's a risk involved here. And what are those risks? The risks are, one, the variable width right-of-way. They do not have any as-built. We did ask them to look for any as-built plans. They were not able to provide those. So we have no idea as to what lies underneath this right-of-way. And then finally, concerns on their part related to installing any lines here within the right-of-way, if we had to do that. Should there be any damage or maintenance required to the line, it could be a significant impact to those drivers on the right-of-way on Depot Drive. I know you'll hate this, but I am going to mention the cost. We were just chatting with the gentleman behind us about the increased costs of concrete, asphalt. When we do a quick takeoff, we do see that this price, the cost for this work would be upwards of $200,000 plus, almost $250,000. So it would be, cost. There would be implications related to the cost with performing this work. Lastly, and I think Laurie, we discussed this location with you and Mr. Wooten. I think we pretty much ruled out Seaboard Drive, the connection down there. But again, I just wanted to show that for everybody's sake, for the board's sake, to see how far down Seaboard Drive, this location, its manhole is actually, where it's actually located. And again, an even higher, more substantial cost related to the tie-in there. Let me flip over to, considering all that, what I want to show now is the septic design. So again, part of our homework was to speak with the environmental department, with Tara and with James, which we did immediately after this meeting. Actually, I went and sat down with James Majors, and sat across the table from him and looked at what we had to date in front of us, what our design looked like, and where we were falling short. And you had asked whether or not the soils in the area were suitable for a septic design. And in looking at our level 3 soil survey, which I'll show here in a second, and confirming with James, we have the pecculate soils there that would support the design for this septic. Additionally, we do show or call for a 2,000-gallon tank, which I think we identified in the meeting last time. So we are designing for capacity that would be more than sufficient for a use of this nature. And how is it substantial? How is it sufficient? A caliber collision, really the only flow that's generated by a caliber collision on a day-to-day basis is going to be that from the restrooms. The base, given the hours of the day, the operating hours, the number of restrooms, and the number of employees that would be in the building while it's operating, the flow would be such that it would be less than that of an average single-family residential unit. So we're talking about designing and installing a system here that would support, more than support, what would be the expected, anticipated daily flow, weekly flow. The other component to this, and like we've discussed before, is what Victory Development is proposing is that future sewer connection. We have talked about the benefits of this, for future development down Rosedale Drive. We really feel strongly that this is something that we would be 100% willing to install and create the connection for future development at our cost. Again, however, we would want to ensure the county that work would get done, whether it is, again, a bond agreement, paying the sewer connection fees. We are open to those conditions. And however the county feels comfortable policing those conditions, enforcing those conditions, whatever sureties we need to put in place, we're open to doing that as well. Here's just a highlight of the septic connection. Again, as I mentioned, the average daily flow is so insignificant. What we have designed here, and I'm hoping that environmental would attest to, is a system that's very large. It has a primary and a secondary set up such that should the primary portion of the septic system fail, the secondary is in place and can be activated until the primary is up and functioning again. And again, finally, here is that level 3 soil survey, again confirming that the soils in the area of the proposed design are suitable for the construction of this facility. So with that, we would respectfully request the board's consideration. We have put a lot of effort into, again, doing that homework, doing that due diligence, following up to the questions that were presented to us, working as a team to make a case that the board can feel good about ruling on, showing the evidence here that what we have designed, what we're proposing can support the septic system, and then 2, that we truly have the good intentions of installing this future sewer connection for the benefit of anybody that develops down Rosedale Drive in the future. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you're right, we have about 5 minutes
Okay.
left for those who want to speak in
Okay.
favor.
Then
But
let me do that then, if that's okay.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Mark, do you want to?
If you'd let me run the meeting,
I'm
I would
sorry.
appreciate
I'm sorry.
that. I was actually while you were up there.
Sorry.
If the board wanted to ask some questions while you're up there.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that.
Can you help me with some dates?
Sure.
When did you all start the development process for this?
I don't have that right at my fingertips, but probably when we signed the deal with you is in the spring. In the spring, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
spring of this year.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I continue?
Sure.
And you were aware that one of the zoning steps on the property is that this isn't a mandatory sewer basin, correct?
I believe that is correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think we started talking in August, is that correct?
That sounds right. Yes.
Okay, about
Yes.
waiver of the
Correct.
sanitary, waiver of that mandatory connection.
Correct.
Okay.
And I have one question.
Okay.
And the county may already have that. Do we have a copy of is there a written opinion or a written engineering study from Walmart saying that they did not agree from an engineering perspective that it would be feasible to allow the connection? Have you provided that to the county? And if you have, great. But if you haven't, is that something that the county could get a hold of?
So we weren't privy to their internal review. What we got was communication, a forwarding, if you will, or of communication that their internal team had reviewed it, and that generally they were not supportive of it. They would not support for it to move forward. So if they did a study, I'm unaware of that, but the email communication that we have from Walmart corporate, I'd be happy to share that with you.
I did have a question about the amount of sewage generated being that similar to a to a single family house. Will any of these, because this is a repair shop,
Sure.
right? Will there be any washing of the vehicles? Will a car wash be part of this? And has that been factored in?
There will not be any car washing services at all.
Okay.
It's strictly auto body repair.
Okay. That was my question. Anybody else?
Well, then I'd like to ask about process.
Okay.
What do they do differently than other body shops who may be washing vehicles more intensely during their collision repair process?
Do you want to speak to that, Scott? Or yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Questions that we ask don't
Sure.
count against your time. So just come in, and I believe there's a sign-in sheet, and just state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Cervenak with Victory Development. So to answer your question about Caliber's process, again, they are a paint and body only. They don't do engine repair. They don't do any heavy thing. That's subbed out to other companies. They're strictly paint and body work. That's it. They do have a detail facility on the property to clean up the vehicle before it goes back to the customer, but it's not a car wash at all. And it is part of the calculations for our outflow to the sewer system.
Thank you.
Sign in here.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a question for y'all. As it relates to tying into sewer in the future, do you have a estimate in your mind of when that would occur? What would be your plans?
So we would, to answer your question, we would develop the property with the stubbed out sanitary connection to the right-of-way. And then, of course, we would be anticipating that at some point in the future, someone is going to bring public service down the street, and we would provide a bond to account for that work and make the connection when it's available. So whenever that is, we would be happy to do so. And of course, the sanitary connection would be included and is included in our plans. We would permit it that way when we would install it that way. So there'd just be whatever is left, 15 or 20 feet to get from the stub out to whatever's put in the right of way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Does anybody else on the committee have any questions? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we will, there are 5 minutes left. If anyone would like to speak on behalf of this application, please come up, sign in, state your name, and direct your comments to me.
Hi, my name is Mark Taglieber. I think I've had the opportunity to meet everyone here today, but I'm a 30-year resident of Paulding County and have businesses here locally. One of the things I do on a regular basis is commercial real estate brokerage. On that screen on the far right, you'll see Metromont's expansion of their facilities. I assisted in the brokerage of that deal and also helped them with the rezoning application. It's important to me, because I live in this county and have for the last 30 years, raised my kids here, to see this county continue to diversify its tax base. I've been here since Bobby Hollis, Chairman Hollis was commissioner, through Caruth and Sharon and Austin and now Carmichael, and every leader that we've had has recognized the fact that we need to diversify our tax base. We've heard it from the Board of Education as it relates to generating funds to educate our kids. And we've heard it from the Chamber of Commerce when they came out with their study that indicated that the majority of our workers leave this county every day. And it's been a goal of mine to try to help do what I can in the business that I do to generate more jobs here locally, more investment in this county, and more of a diversified tax base. I've been working with these folks since January of this year when we signed the contract. I've found them to be a real quality group. Clearly, their facilities are nicer than anything we currently have in this county for this type of business. And I would urge y'all to look for a way to make it happen and let them move forward on the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Okay. At this time, I will ask if there is anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions and concerns regarding this application. If there is no one else, we will close the public comment portion of this consideration, and I will ask if there are any more questions or discussion from the committee members. If there is no more questions or comments, would anyone like to make a motion?
I know this was tabled before on the 20th, and so I want to make a motion, but I want to explain something before I make the motion. I think there's still a couple of things that we need to look at, and I think we need just a little bit more time. So what I'm proposing is tabling this to November the 2nd, which is 2 weeks and a day. And I'm asking the chair to initiate a special called meeting for that date, since it's not a regular scheduled meeting, and this would be the only agenda item at this time. So that would be my motion. It would be to table this until November the 2nd at a special called meeting.
Okay. Would anyone like to second that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Baker and a second by Ms. Ashmore to table consideration of this request until November 2nd at a special called meeting. Are there any questions or comments on the board about this? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion to table until November 4th carries unanimously.
And if we can just double check. Mr. Baker, that was November 2nd, is that right?
That's correct. It's a
Okay.
Wednesday.
November 2nd, special called meeting. That would not be the regular called meeting. That's just a special date, only 2 weeks out.
That's correct. And
Okay.
if I could have permission of the chair to ask what time would a morning or afternoon be better for y'all?
Afternoon would be ideal.
Okay.
2 o'clock,
2 o'clock.
same time. Okay. Moving on to our new business, item number 3 is case number 2022-15-W, application by Jacqueline Searcy, hope I got that right, requesting to waive the no access easement development regulation for a lot split located at 254 Glory Lane, which is lot 32 in the Lake Buckingham subdivision. Property is located in land lot 352, District 1, Section 3, located on the north side of Brownsville Road, east of Sleepy Hollow Road in Post 3. I think the applicant is present. If you'll just sign in and present your case to me.
Okay. Hi, and good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Searcy, and I've been a resident of Paulding County for about 23 years. And I am actually proposing that I be able to split the lot because I would like to build a house that is a ranch on a slab. I'm getting older and I've retired, and I think that's gonna, make life more efficient to have the ranch on the slab. So what I've done so far is I have actually had someone to come out from the list of Paulding County approved soil classifiers. And so you do have the report there for the soil test that's already been conducted. I'm correct, right? That you've got that?
I don't think we have that. We have the drawing of, we have the site plan of your existing property and how it would be proposed to be split, but we don't have a copy of the soil report.
Oh, actually, it should have been there because this was first.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any way that I can just, give it to you?
Yeah. Do you have a level 3 soil survey report? Do we? It's not mine.
There was actually 3 pages that were sent with that.
Yeah. Since we have a representative from Environmental Health, Tara, if we could ask you to maybe take a look at this and.
Okay.
Is your existing house on a septic tank?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. What we're really here today, I mean, this is useful information to know if you can build on the property. The waiver that we are considering is to waive the no access easement, and that is, as of right now, you cannot have a driveway onto Brownsville Road. And am I correct, Mr. Jones?
That is correct. That lot was basically permitted with the subdivision itself. It was to be a part of that subdivision.
Okay. So what we're considering today is if you can, not just, it appears looking at the site plan that you can split the property and you meet the minimum zoning requirements. We have a copy of your soil report that seems to have some good and some bad information. But what we're here to consider today is if you can access the property from Brownsville Road. Is that your desire, to be able to have a driveway directly onto Brownsville Road?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I was requesting that you would waive that 10-foot buffer.
Okay. Have you, let me just ask, have you considered, you own the house that is 254 Glory Lane, right?
That is correct. Yes, I do.
And you plan to split the property, sell the house, and build a new house on the back piece of property?
That's what I would like.
Okay, since you own the front property, have you considered, before you sell it, giving yourself an easement and accessing, because as Mr. Jones points out, with a subdivision, the desire is to have most of the access come from within the subdivision. I believe, George, what road type is Brownsville Road?
Brownsville is a minor arterial road, obviously looking more at mobility as a people mover, traffic mover, I should say, 45 miles per hour, more of a high-speed road.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to present to us, or does anybody else on the committee have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. If you'll have a seat,
Okay.
we'll call you back if we have any more questions. At this time, I will ask if there is anyone present who would like to speak on behalf of this application. Sir, if you'd like to just come up, there's a sign-in sheet. If you'll just sign your name, state your name for the record, and direct all your comments, questions to me.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Desmond Searcy. I'm her oldest son. I too have been here for over 23 years. So just to mention with this property, just to give you a little bit of background. The original property was built by Masterpiece Communities, a long time ago, and so the property that was built, it was before some other homes on Brownsville Road were also constructed. So it's also, if you see on the map, I don't know if you have a broader view, but actually Sleepy Hollow, when you said it's east of Sleepy Hollow, is actually right near there. And then also right before you get to Sleepy Hollow, there are also several houses with driveways directly on Brownsville Road. So this just goes to show, I mentioned that because there are homes already on Brownsville Road. This isn't something that would be something rare or anything like that, even though I know we talk about the speed limit, which is sometimes, precautions that people will have. Also, that road has not just subdivisions on there, but they also have new construction homes that was built after the subdivision. So this driveway in this property wouldn't be anything just out the way or irregular. It wouldn't stop the flow of traffic due to the fact that, I'd say at least about 20 feet from where I'd say maybe within I'd say 100 feet, there are more houses their driveway is literally right there on Brownsville Road. So it is something that would just blend right in as far as traffic patterns. Also, if you look at the subdivision or if you look at the property itself, because the house is on the corner lot and this other lot is separating it, it would also give a different look, and it wouldn't be directly involved with the subdivision. So if you think about a visual aspect, it would look like a freestanding house, just like some of the other ones that are on Brownsville Road. So I just wanted to add that in to give you kind of visual, because right now all you see is just a plot of land and a little bit of road. But in actuality, if you look at the broader scheme of things, it'll fit right in. So,
Thank you.
all right, you're welcome.
Mark, can you maybe switch to one of our other maps, just so the committee members can get the broader picture? And while he's doing that, I'll ask if there is anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this application while we're zooming out a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. If there's no one else who would like to speak in favor, I'll ask if there's anyone wishing to express opposition or has questions or concerns regarding this application. If they would like to come forward. Okay, does not seem like there is, so I will close the public comment portion of this meeting, and I will ask if there are any questions or discussion from the board at this time.
And I would just point out one thing. This does appear to be in a subdivision with covenants. This appears to be a lot contained within there that you're proposing to subdivide. One thing that, I'm not a voter on this, so I don't decide yay or nay on this. I just give the legal advice. But one thing I would keep in mind, that if in the event there is construction there, it probably needs to comply with the covenants of that development. So that's something you need to make sure you look at in the event you're green lighted to go forward. Not saying you would, but just keep that in mind.
Okay, can I respond to that?
You no need to respond. I just want to make you aware of it. It's a private matter. I just noticed it's in a subdivision.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
George, are there site distance concerns, or going in or coming out of a curve?
Again, I think it would depend on where a potential driveway would be located. You'd like to meet site distance for the posted speed limit. So again, I think you'd actually have to go out and look at where that point is before you could actually pinpoint that. And again, I think you had brought up before that yes, there are driveways on Brownsville Road for other residential houses. That's true. There's a mixture of homes and also local county roads and also subdivisions. Typically, you like to have access coming out of roadways and subdivision drives. You're trying to basically have people go to a location where they have good sight distance, looking to their left and right, good spacing. You're trying to promote both safety and flow on these roads. This particular subdivision was designed as a multiple lot subdivision, and they did not propose this to be split up when it was developed. So I'd just like to say that, keep that in mind.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. At this point, would anyone like to make a motion on this application? Well, I think at this time, I hate to do this since we have tabled another meeting, but based on your soil study and maybe getting in touch with our DOT, Jason, would we be able to also table this one to our called meeting?
It's up to you.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we table consideration of this until the special called November 2nd meeting to get further information. I don't want you to subdivide this property and the soils not be good. I would feel better that we get all of our research and maybe get in touch with our DOT and see if, I know I'm making a long run-on motion, but I'm just trying to state why I'd like to table this until November 2nd, the special called meeting. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table consideration of this item until a called meeting on November 2nd. If there are no questions, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? There are none, so this item is tabled until November 2nd at a called meeting. So we will send you more information about that.
Okay, so how will I know what it is that I need to do?
We'll reach out to you.
Okay, well, can you give me the packet back that came from?
Yes.
Did you want to make a copy?
Yeah. Yeah, or if you could just resend it to us.
Yes. Okay, so then who am I sending it to?
If you want to coordinate with Leah and send her anything. And we'll reach out to you perhaps in the next 2 weeks to schedule a meeting with environmental health and with DOT to look at more information. And I think the next one's a road one, so if you want to, yeah. Okay. If we're ready, item number 4 is case number 22-18-W, application by James D. DeFore requesting to waive PDOT recommended left turn lane at existing drive along McBrayer Road for a proposed wedding venue. Property is located on land lot 1254, District 19, Section 3. Proposed site is located west of McBrayer Road, north of Weaver Road in Post 2. Is the applicant present? So just sign in on our sheet and present your case to me.
My name's Jimmy DeFore. We're the property owners at this location. Did y'all receive or have a copy of the letter from Columbia Engineering?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Due to the fact that there's not a tremendous amount of traffic on McBrayer Road, we requested to have the turn lanes, and I believe the right turn lane is a separate agenda, on the agenda. But and our surveyor engineer Jason Hulsey got with Columbia and produced the report that y'all requested last week, and they have essentially did the study and determined that the turn lanes should not be required or would not be needed, and we would hope that y'all would agree with their findings on this matter.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for the applicant?
looks like your driveway going into the site is essentially a one-way driveway. Are you going to continue to have it that way, or is it going to be widened?
I would like to leave it that way. I mean, we talked about widening it down at the road, on our property, but essentially, because most, on an event, 95% of the traffic's coming in at one time, and then when the event's over, they're going out. There's not gonna be a lot of in and out, at one event.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that because that wasn't in the study. That was one of the questions. And looking at some images from this year, it looks like the area of your driveway where it meets McBrayer Road is unpaved. Is that correct at this time?
The existing drive, yes, sir.
Something like this where you're bringing in, seems like it could be a good amount of vehicles at a certain point in time. I'd recommend having a paved access at least 15 to 20 feet back, so a car could have their wheels on it as they
Right.
pull in and out.
As opposed to being on the gravel.
Yeah,
Okay,
particularly when they're pulling out into a high-speed roadway like McBrayer is.
okay.
Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you. You can have a seat for a minute.
All right.
Is there anyone present who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anyone who would like to express opposition, questions, or concerns regarding the application? Does not look like there is, so I will close the public comment portion and ask the board if there are any questions or discussion. And if there are no questions or discussion, would someone like to make a motion?
Yes to the motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jones to approve the request, and it has been seconded by Mr. Baker. If there are no questions, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed would be a nay. There are none. The motion to waive the requested left turn lane has been approved unanimously. Our last case today is case 22-19-W, application by James D. DeFore, requesting to waive PDOT recommended right turn lane at existing drive along McBrayer Road for a proposed wedding venue. Property is located in land lot 1254, District 19, Section 3. Proposed site is located west of McBrayer Road, north of Weaver Road in Post 2. Mr. DeFore, would you like to come back and quickly talk about the request to waive the right turn lane?
I mean, essentially the same thing. We feel that neither one is needed.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to express opposition or questions or concerns regarding the application? If not, we will close the public hearing portion, and I will ask if there are any questions, discussions, or if anyone would like to make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Baker. If there are any questions, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the request to waive the required right turn lane signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed would be nay. There are none. The motion is approved unanimously. That is our last agenda item today. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
All right, Lori?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.